you on.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, what is this? I was told to jump on some call. What's going on here? Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to BS with Todd, and I'm going to share a whole lot of BS, and we'll go into that BS definition a little bit later. But I sincerely hope everybody is well out there, including your loved ones. We're doing okay here. But again, thanks for joining us. So what we're going to talk about is the exciting world of labeling. I know. But keep in mind, it's a necessary evil, and all within the industry, you have to use labeling every day. A couple of different housekeeping rules. I've got Mr. Jamie Brookover in the background. He'll be answering all questions. So any questions you do have, feel free to ask in either the chat or the Q&A. And Jamie will do his best to answer those questions. So with that being said, there's been a couple of ground rules, and I know my bosses are out there. Good morning. But I've been told three things. Number one, don't cuss. Number two, don't touch my face. All right. And number three, don't offend anyone. And so if I get 2 out of 3, all right, it's not a home run, but I'm batting .750. So I'm going to do my best. So let me apologize ahead of time if I do offend anyone. It's not intentional unless it's Jamie. That is intentional. So a couple things about brother labeling. All right, yeah, let's go back to the BS part. All right, you can view BS in a couple of different ways. Those who have had the pleasure of meeting me one-on-one know a different kind of BS that I can spew. But this whole series is related to another type of BS, which is brother solutions. All right, genius. All right. So I'm going to be spewing a lot of BS, all right? And everything related to this, for the most part, is going to be labeling. I've got to scratch my nose already, and I'm not supposed to. So again, I'm going to follow the rules. Labeling is very near and dear to my heart. I'm still very passionate about labeling. A little bit of background about myself is that I've been in this datacom industry for the past 20 years. I've been a manufacturer representative, so I know what it is to rep products. I've been in distribution for a while. I've worked for a manufacturer, and I was actually a contractor in Texas for 15 years. So I personally have had a lot to do with labeling. I personally use the other products out there, taking off my brother hat from a contractor. Hey, good morning, Ken. Hey, if you could mute me up there, Mr. Ken, you're looking wonderful this morning, Ken. Nonetheless, is that labeling is very near and dear to my heart, and that's what we're going to talk about in this series. So, brother, all right, we all know Brother P-Touch. Brother P-Touch has been around since Methuselah. In fact, I think Methuselah knew brother back then. So, as you know, brother makes sewing machines. Brother makes home office scanners and printers and karaoke machines, believe it or not. But brother has also had the P-Touch division for many, many, many years. And as a contractor, I used to instruct my guys when we were traveling to go down to your local big office or big box office store and purchase an inexpensive brother, $29, $39 to come back and do patch panels and faceplates and so forth and whatnot. So that still exists. That's a different side of brother. Brother Industrial Solutions came about, I want to say 11 or 12 years ago. I personally have been with brother for 8 years, actually going on 9 years now. I was actually with a brother's competitor prior to that. So I know a little bit about labeling, and we're going to talk about that during this series. All right, so going to the brother industrial side of the fence, we've redesigned the product. It started off with basically 2 of us running the whole country. I am going to introduce you, and we are going to have a slide at the end of this that will give you the contact information for the entire Brother team. The Brother Industrial team right now, it spans nationally. We're actually doing a little bit in Canada. So the product line is growing dramatically. There have been those lines out there that have enjoyed some major success throughout the years based upon their name brand. And obviously Brother brings that name brand to the table, but also some very, very innovative products. This whole thing is going to be unscripted. I've got a little something here to tell me how long I should talk and so forth and whatnot. But it's primarily going to be unscripted, and it's going to be a series. Right now, I think I have everything lined out through July. I know, labeling. But again, what I hope is that you're going to get something from this series. We're going to try and keep it light. That's the reason for being unscripted. It's going to be very educational. At least I hope it is. All right. And again, I hope you have some really good takeaways at the end of this soft opening. We're calling this a soft opening. And by the way, there's several hundred of you out there. So thank you very much to not only my manufacturer reps, thank you to my distribution partners out there pushing this. Thank you for the contractors and end users that are on board. And thank you to our marketing team within Brother. This whole thing came about very, very quickly. So I've got a plethora, that's a big word. I'm going to surprise some of you with my big words. We have a plethora of things to talk about, and we'll talk about that towards the end. And first and foremost, this is a half an hour out of your life that, by the way, you'll never get back. So I want to make it worth your time to join us this morning or this afternoon, because I know we're covering this thing nationally. This will also be recorded, so please feel free to share. I'm sure that our fine marketing team will send out some type of communication after this is said and done. With that being said, I think I've gone beyond my 5 minutes. We talked a little bit about the Brother history. As we go into this thing down the road, we're going to get very product specific. We're going to talk about our handhelds. We're going to talk about our desktops. We're going to talk about the types of tape that we use. And that's really important because, again, putting my contractor hat on, you want it to be a one and done. You want to go in, you want to label it correctly with the correct identification, and you don't want to go back to replace a label that's fallen off, if you will. I know that has happened to me many, many times as a contractor. If I had a nickel for every label that fell off some of my active and passive electronics and labels, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now selling you on labeling. So the industries that we target, obviously the datacom industry. My background is datacom. I can tell you everything about datacom. In fact, one of the classes or one of the series coming up is going to be on 606C. There's been some changes on ANSI, TIA 606C. So we're going to be talking about that as well. We're going to be talking about you can actually make money labeling. I know, mind blowing, right? Most of the folks out there don't realize how much labeling is costing them, not only from the labor standpoint, but not factoring in the mistakes and labels coming off and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that aspect as well, as far as making money in labeling. And this goes not only for distribution, but it goes for the contractors, and obviously the end users are the ones paying the bill. And I know we do have some end users out there today, and we're going to talk about that aspect. So we target the datacom industry. We are now making a big push into the security side of the fence. Obviously security is now falling in line with low voltage. And so, we're going back to patch panels, and we're going to servers, and they're running over Cat 6, and not like the old days where everything was over twinax and coax. And so things have definitely changed. Everything's going on IP, and all that needs to be labeled. So datacom, electrical, on the electrical side, how many can go out to your house right now? I know I can. Open up your panel, your electrical panel, and everything's in Sharpie. In fact, that just happened the other day to me. Now, I haven't labeled it yet, but it's something that needs to happen out in the industry. So we're making a big push as far as on the electrical side for panels, panel schedules, the wiring, you name it. All right, the disconnects, pro audio video. Right? Nobody thinks pro audio video, but again, pro audio video is part of these systems, is part of the network in a lot of cases. Those wires, the cables, they all need to be labeled. So again, you got another industry where it's demanding a lot of labeling, and again, that's what Brother brings to the table. And down the road, we'll go into the specifics of each particular industry, and what the labeling demands are, what people are currently doing, and what they should be doing. Again, so manufacturing, there's a big play in manufacturing right now for labeling. Same thing with warehousing, bin locations, shipping, handling, you name it, data centers. All right, data centers can fall underneath any one of these different categories, because you've got datacom in there, you've got electrical in there, you've got shipping and handling, asset management. That's the other thing that I'm preaching weekly. Well, I used to preach weekly out in the field. QR coding. There's a segment on that as far as the barcoding. So again, this whole series I think is going to be very informative as far as labeling, and really open up some minds out there. And I'll give examples as well. As we go down there, I'll be sharing Brother's P-Touch Editor software. It's a very, very powerful piece of software. It's a Windows-based software. And by the way, it's free. The F word, it's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. I'll be going through how to build custom labels in P-Touch Editor, putting your company logos on there, putting QR codes on there. So again, there's lots of topics, and it's not just the old days of, wrap a wire or wrap a cable. It goes well beyond that as well. I will be talking about the team a little bit. The team right now consists of myself on the West Coast. I'm actually talking to you from the West Coast Distribution Center, Industrial Distribution Center. Actually, that was BS. That's the other type of BS. I'm coming to you from my garage in Carlsbad, California. Don't know about the weather out there for y'all, but it's been raining. So look out anything east of California. So again, going back to the different types of BS. So again, by the way, I mentioned I'm in Carlsbad, California. We have Jamie Brookover. Jamie Brookover has been with the team for many, many years now. He is a major account manager out in Virginia Beach. We've got Mr. Dan Cobb. Dan Cobb lives somewhere in Wisconsin. I don't know. It's somewhere in the snow. It's white. Anyway, Dan is in charge of MRO. And again, there's another side of the labeling that it really goes unnoticed. We just brought on Mr. Bruce Page. Bruce, Marblehead, I don't know, anywhere. Bruce is out on the East Coast as well, and we'll share this with you later. Rob Dawkins just joined the team. Actually, myself and Rob Dawkins worked at a competitor prior to myself coming on board with Brothers. So it's fantastic to have Rob back on the team. We have a lot of great synergies. Rob is out of, Rob, where are you? He's back east. All right, North Carolina, as a matter of fact. So again, we'll share that information. Hopefully you do have some questions after this. You're gonna have everybody's contact information. So in case you do have any questions, comments, concerns, anybody needing bad advice, you can always call me. I've got plenty of that stuff. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and we are 14 minutes into this, and I haven't come up for air yet. Hey, what do you think? Huh? I've had this for about 20 years now. Isn't that fantastic? Product. Let's get product centric for a little bit. I'm not going to go into the individual printers this morning. I'm going to do just a brief overview of Brothers' current offering. Later on down the line, in this series. I'll go into some of the new products we have or coming online, if you will. So going back to what I said initially, you can still go to the big office stores. You can buy a $29 Brother printer, $39 printer, whatever it is. You can buy tape at the store. But the thing is, it's not product centric. What we deal with are things like the ability to do cable wraps. Push a button to do a cable wrap, push a button to do a patch panel, push a button to do a flag. All right, those particular printers that you can find in the big office stores are geared toward the consumer side of the fence, the stay-at-home folks, files and folders and whatnot. So we'll talk a little bit more down the road about how our printers operate out in the field. Is it the same tape? Well, the big office stores offers versus our distribution partners. Some of the tapes are the same. All the tapes we have, actually there's a TZEN 201 super narrow tape. Write that down. Remember that. Very important. We're going to talk about that super narrow tape down the road because nobody else is doing the super narrow tape for the high density patch panels. It was made for compact disc lines, and I know there's a few on the call that don't even know what a compact disc is or a CD. We'll talk about that a little bit. But everything we have is laminated. The stuff you can buy in the office stores, yes. All right, is it laminated? Yes. Is it going to cost you twice as much as versus going through our distribution partners? Yeah. All right. But in a pinch, it's a great place to buy the tape, and we'll talk about that later on down the road. Let me give you a brief overview of what we have. I'm actually going to stand up now. Looking at myself on screen, they say the camera puts 10 pounds on you. I'd say that 10 pounds plus the 10 pounds that I've gained from home confinement. So anyway, if I look a little puffy, I don't know if it's an infection or just, this thing was, I brought this down about 4 inches. I just shaved it off the other day. I'm a bike enthusiast, Indian motorcycles. Hope I don't get in trouble for that. Anyway, I am a biking enthusiast, and so I figured what a better time to grow this thing out than when I was at home. And knowing that I had this series starting this week, I actually shaved it off the other day, and I discovered an extra chin. I don't know if you could see it from the profile, but yeah, there was an extra chin that grew underneath there. So anyway, I'm going to stand up behind me. What you're seeing behind me is I'd say 80% of our products right now. I'm missing our PTE 500, but we'll talk about that later. So let me kind of give you a brief overview of what we have here, and hopefully everyone's going to be able to see this. I'm kind of looking at myself on here. It's, yeah, maybe 25 pounds. Good night. Anyway, so what we're going to do is just a very, very quick overview. All right, this is our PTE 110. Instead of going to Staples to buy one of those inexpensive $29 printers, this is actually very product specific here. And it's tough to see the buttons, I understand that, but things like a cable wrap and a cable flag and a faceplate, right? This is a great tool bag printer, Johnny on the spot printer, right? Comes with a 2-year exchange warranty also, which means that if this thing breaks down during the first 2 years, brother will place it. Not too many else out there that's going to do that for you, as far as my competition is concerned. So something like this, under 60 bucks, comes in a Hardcase Kit, right? And I'm not going to go through the pricing. I can give you MSRP, but check with your local distribution partner out there, all right? They're carrying these as well. So a very simplistic printer, handheld printer, goes up to 1/2 inch, if you will. Again, comes in a Hardcase Kit, and that's our starter printer. Again, great for a tool bag or Johnny on the spot. The PTE 300. Okay, so the PTE 300 now will accept up to 3/4 inch tape. All right, 18 millimeter tape exactly is the way that we market the tape. But it's essentially 3/4 inch, and as you can see, much larger screen. Both of them have the QWERTY keyboards. But now you can start doing heat shrink with this. All right. The heat shrink comes in a cassette, and we'll talk about that at a later date. You can see behind me, I have again, a wide array of tapes that we'll talk about. Comes in a Hardcase Kit. Now you get a lithium-ion battery. On this one, it's 6 AAAs, if you will. So yes, it's a Johnny on the spot, but again, we talked about earlier how I'm going to help you make some money out there. And one of the things you want to consider is throwing away AAA batteries is really not making money. But now we get into a lithium-ion battery with a Hardcase Kit. Much easier to see for us blind folks, older folks, if you will. We also have an option without a Hardcase Kit. We just introduced it, and the reason why we introduced it is there is a competitor out there that is offering a printer for $99.99. What a fantastic deal $99.99 is. But they missed a few points, like giving it a QWERTY keyboard. Again, some of us older folks on the phone remember the flip phones, the Motorola Razors. In fact, I found a few the other day. Remember texting on an ABC keyboard? It's not fun. It's very time consuming, right? So what we did is QWERTY keyboard. We're all used to QWERTY keyboards, just like my keyboard here, all right? So again, the one without the case, the PTE 300M, is very competitive against that one I was talking about for $99.99. If not, it comes in a Hardcase Kit, lithium-ion battery, AC adapter, and again, you have very specific functions on here. You can do cable wraps, patch panels, barcoding, if you will, faceplates. So again, that's our PTE 300. Our flagship, now I'm missing the PTE 500. We'll talk about that later. This is our flagship. This is the PTE 550W. I know it's very hard to see later on down the series. I will introduce a simulator. Be careful how you say that. The simulator I can actually put on the screen and I can show you how to use that as far as all the different keys and the functions. You get into 24mm or 1-inch capabilities. It is a Wi-Fi unit. It's got nothing to do with the internet. Keep that in mind. It has the ability to connect to a smart device, iOS or Android, so that way you can dump Excel spreadsheets into this databases. Mind-blowing. We all remember sitting in front of patch panels, or even to this day, and doing everything by hand, A01, space, 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 right? Or printing them off ahead of time and having to transport those from point A to point B, and who knows what happens between point A and point B. So the ability to download a database of several thousand labels into this and then utilize the white buttons to manipulate that data while out in the field and fix errors on the fly, oh, I'm telling you, it's fantastic. All right, so this is a PTE 550. We'll talk about our collaboration with Fluke. We do have a collaboration with Fluke and their Linkware Live. So we'll talk about that later on in the series. Comes in a Hardcase Kit, lithium-ion battery, and again, up to 1-inch tapes. We have our desktop units. Desktop units are great for data centers, great for manufacturing, great for warehouses. This will also do everything essentially that this guy will do here. Now we get up into 1.5-inch tape or 36mm. So we can go into a wider tape format, if you will. By the way, and this may be a quiz down the line, and we're thinking about doing certain things, but every Brother tape except for heat shrink has got a marathon of tape on it, 26.2 feet of tape on it. So now we get up into 36mm or 1.5 inches. This one can connect directly to the PC. You can print from the PC, or you can actually print from your phone. All right, and we'll get into that as well. It's very, very interesting how this whole labeling technology is come this far to where if it's easier for you to do the work here on your phone and just hit print on the phone and it comes out of the actual printer itself, again, mind-blowing. We'll talk about that a little more. Part of our desktop line, which I'm actually really excited about, is our PTE 800. The PTE 800 incorporates kind of the same technology. If not, it's basically the same engine as our PTP series. This is the PTP 950W networkable printer. But look at this. It's the first ever portable desktop printer. I know some of our competitors have these desktop printers that have to stay plugged into a PC. You have to print from the PC, and it's really not mobile. but the ability to have this, store your tapes inside here, all right? Here's your engine, but it is the first ever removable, fully functioning keyboard, QWERTY keyboard. If you want to move from point A to point B, lock this into place, move this over to point B, don't even take the keyboard off, and away you go. When everything's all said and done, and you're done for the evening, lock this thing in place, like so, and you're back up here. We will expand on some of the newer products we have coming out. We have some new desktop direct thermal transfer printers that will be able to go up to 4-inch. We'll talk about that later on down the road. So again, this may go over by 5 minutes. I appreciate your time on here. Stay tuned. Our marketing department, I do believe they have some, oh, I touched my face. That may be 2 or 3 times. We will be sending out some polls, if you will. I'd appreciate that you answer those. Please remember, next week, we will be doing this every Thursday, 10 a.m. my time. I don't get up till around 9. Oh, wait, so I'm sorry, 5 or 6. So every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, please come back here. I think right now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sign off. We're going to go ahead and share the information as far as our contact information. No, what do we got here? We got upcoming session schedule. I'm sorry, not used to this technology stuff. Okay, so here's kind of the schedule in front of you. Subject to change, by the way. We may change, you know, 1 or 2 of these up, depending upon your feedback. And again, your feedback is very important. So as you can see, we have a plethora of topics to talk about. I stopped at July 16th. If this series does work very well, we will continue it because there are a lot more topics we can talk about. And the next slide I'm going to show is essentially the team's contact information. If you have any questions whatsoever, obviously you got my contact information here, San Diego area, Jamie Brookover, again from the major account, Mr. Dan Cobb from the MRO side, Mr. Bruce Page out on the East Coast, and Mr. Rob Dawkins, manufacturing, warehousing, that is his specialty. You know what, with that being said, again, I sincerely thank you all for showing up. I sincerely hope that you spread the word about this. I know if it was helpful, and again, we'll get into the weeds on later on down the road, but share this information, and we'll be in contact soon. So again, thank you, everybody. Have yourself a great day and the rest of the week. Please